In the last unit, we were talking about what's involved in a test, or what is, how is the test actually working? What happens in the test? In this unit, we're going to look more closely at what is involved in an ICAO Level 4 test. How do we actually do it as a tester, or as we prefer to call an interviewer? Alright, let me just highlight my cursor here. Tests are based on your listening and speaking proficiency, how good you are at speaking and listening in English. Thus, an interview will be held with a trained ICAO Level 4 examiner. Now, like myself, examiners have gone through extensive training on how to look for the correct language in this test. It doesn't mean that we're examiners for TOEFL tests. We are specifically trained to test for the ICAO Level 4 or above. There are some tests which have a writing component, maybe an ATIS for example, but this is generally not standard. And in fact, in my experience, I have actually never done a test which has a writing component in the test. Others have, friends of mine have, but I have never done it. But what we do is cover the 6 proficiency descriptors. Okay? The ones that I talked about earlier. Do you remember the pronunciation, structure, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and interactions? Now, so how is an ICAO Level 4 test marked? Well, each one of those proficiency descriptors that I just said is given a score on how good you are at those descriptors. Now, the score ranges, as I've mentioned earlier, from 1 pre-elementary to 6 expert. Now, here's the big trouble. Your overall score is based on your lowest score, not an average. So, for example, if you got 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, that adds up to 24. You divide by 6, that gives you 4. Bingo, a level 4. No, that is not how it is marked. Let's have a look. Okay, here's an example. Now, this is not an example of a test. This is just a sort of a table to show you how it works. Let's have a look. So, say for example, pardon me, you took the pronunciation and you scored level 3. Your structure was a level 4. Your vocabulary was a level 4. Your fluency was a level 5. Your comprehension was a level 3. And again, your interactions were a level 5. Okay, so let's count this up. That's 3 is 7, 11, 16, 19, 24. So you've done well in the test. You've got an average of 4. But your score is not an average of 4. This is not your final score. Your final score is the lowest mark you received on the test. In this case, the lowest mark you received was a level 3, twice. In this case, your score would be a level 3. Oops. Even though you got a 5 here and a 5 here, this is not your level. You are a level 3. So it's really important when you're doing an ICAO test to understand that it's not an average of all of these. Your lowest score is your score, which means that when you're studying for it, you have to study all the sections equally.